So tonight on The Link, we talk to Dr. Stephen Akintayo, referred to by Forbes as one of Africa's most influential investment coaches. Lead consultant and founder of Stephen Akintayo Consulting. He's also a member of the Forbes Council, the chief executive of Tex Global Holdings, which offers wealth and knowledge building opportunities through mentorship programs, be it real estate, digital, and paper asset investment advisory or investment advisor. He has bases in Nigeria, Dubai, Florida, London. He's also an author of the book Billionaire Habits. Have I lied, Doctor?
You haven't.
I haven't lied anywhere. You're very welcome to Uganda and to NTV and to allow you to talk to us on The Link.
Thank you for having me.
So, first of all, why have you chosen Uganda? Among all the African countries, many African countries, the millions of people, huge markets for some of your products, and then you come in the center of East Africa. Yes, we are a gateway to some countries where you may be interested, but why did you choose us?
So often I get that question, why Uganda? And my answer is, if not Uganda, where else? Right? How many places have, you know, the country of the 7 hills, or is it the 9 hills? You know, where else did River Nile starts from, if not Uganda? The beautiful Lake Victoria cuts across this city, and I think it's a beautiful place to come. Of course, there's a need for Uganda to do more marketing, and we're talking about that, because when I came in, it's a far more developed and beautiful land than what was the perception out there. So, and a lot of, even when it comes to tourism, I'm told, for example, Gorilla Mountains in your neighboring country, maybe there are 3 families of Gorilla Mountains. Here you have 23. And yet most people go to your neighboring country for Gorilla Mountain sighting instead of Uganda. So, but it's a good place.
I can tell you that most of the Gorilla families that you heard of in other countries actually cross from here.
Exactly.
Those countries.
That's the point.
Visit.
Yes. And then come back.
The families are here. So that is wrong. We have more Gorillas than here.
And I'm confirming that. Exactly
fantastic.
what I'm saying. That, but it hasn't been well marketed. But I'm excited coming. I hope that I'm one of those whose my pictures will get more people to want to visit Uganda.
That's fantastic. Let's speak about your books, and I have them here. You brought 2 fantastic copies. I'll show them to the camera. Billionaire Codes and Billionaire Habits. They're here. They're the books we're going to talk about, and you speak about principles that guide creating, or you know, make money, you know, invest, and all the other things that you're speaking about. And I think I read about 29 habits in your review, and you prefer to call them habits, etc. and principles. We know that Africa is being referred to as, you know, the next destination for investment, and we have a large population of young people who have gone to school. Others have completed. They have tried out all the options for investment. They have tried out all the smallest jobs. They have tried out all the smallest businesses. Some have succeeded. Some at a very high level, like Dr. Akintayo, and some have ended up on the sea to Italy and Lampedusa and dying at sea, and meaning they have failed. Perhaps maybe you'll say they haven't been able to put these habits and principles in practice and very well. Why? What exactly are you talking about in these 29 principles? What works and what doesn't work? What haven't we seen in those principles that you're talking about in your books? And I think that is the Billionaire Habits for entrepreneurs.
This is for entrepreneurs. I think it's difficult to blame young people for giving up. I think the older generation failed to do one thing and one thing only. The older generation failed to inspire hope among young people. The reason why young Africans are leaving Africa is not because our problems are insurmountable. In fact, I tell people that the problems where they are going is worse. The challenges are tougher. You here in Africa, how much do you pay in tax? In some of these foreign countries, you pay 40%, in tax. Sometimes you even pay a lot more. So they are going to meet another heavy challenge where they're going. But our leaders fail to give hope. And that's what the book is doing. The book is giving young people hope that I grew up in a village in Nigeria where there was no electricity, no running water. My education was very faulty, very poor education. I catch up later in life. But yet I've been able to build this empire in 4 continents of the world. And even when I expanded, I didn't, we call it Japa in Nigeria. What I did instead was to expand our businesses into those countries, which a lot of us can do. I wonder why, Africans, we shut down their business in Africa, take everything and move. Instead of saying, okay, even if you want to relocate, can I think of how I can expand in the next country that I'm going? And I think it's a better, concept, a better principle. But we shared a lot of habits. One of them is habit of networking with wealthy people. A lot of us, because we feel we're not as wealthy, when we see people who are richer than us, we are battling with low self-esteem. We immediately even say, who knows how they got the money? Maybe it's corrupt means. And not everybody is wealthy through corruption. I've never done government work. I've never been politics. We grew our business organically. And I'm not the only one. There are a lot of more role models in Africa who build their money and their business legitimately. Why can't we learn how to network with them? It's not going to be free. It's not going to be easy. We have a concept in Nigeria called, apprenticeship, in the Igbo land. You come work for a successful entrepreneur for 7 years. And after that 7 years, he supports you to set you up. And I think that's what needs to begin to happen with young Africans. The degree is no longer enough. You need to begin to look for role models in Uganda who are successful in business and say, sir, can I work for you for a period? Just to serve you. It's not about the salary. It's not about the money. And then just to learn how you're doing it. And then I can replicate that same principle. And what we will see is an explosion in businesses as we begin to cross-fertilize ideas, as the more successful entrepreneurs begin to mentor the younger ones. And they need to mentor. I tell people that if you go to if you say football star, let's say Ronaldo, if you are a football star and you do not retire to become a coach, you will soon pay to enter the same stadium to watch other next reigning star play. But if you're a star today and when you're retiring, you retire to be a coach, to mentor the new stars. Now, when the next reigning star scores, he will point at you and say, Coachy, that way you will never lose relevance. So we need successful entrepreneurs across Africa to take it serious that they have to mentor these younger ones. Of course, they shouldn't make it free. They shouldn't make it everybody just come. People have to pay the price. There's a principle. There's a cost to every success that you seek. But we must open that pathway. And that's why I wrote the book. A lot of rich people in Africa don't write books about how they made it. But we have to start it. Because your book will outlive you. I've written about 40 books. And it was because a book changed my life. I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and at the age of 17, 18, and that was the book that made me what I am today. And I'm asking myself, why don't we have that version in Africa? The version that also puts into context our own unique challenges. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the Billionaire Habit book, because there I put in the context of when you're trying to start in Africa, the challenges you face, and how you can overcome them.
You speak about billionaires not writing books. Most billionaires in Africa are people who have wealth, not writing books.
Yes.
What they do here in my country is tell stories of how they made money, and very difficult stories that when you when you try to listen to those stories, you find yourself in a position that might not easily even think about starting. You just, but we are referred to as the most entrepreneurial country. At some point we had that ranking, and I was wondering where Nigeria was. But so like I said, most of the entrepreneurs have startups here and there, but they do not succeed. And speaking of success, what is that weapon against the challenges? I know you've had your own run-ins with some people in Nigeria here and there, and some of the businesses that you've done, and I can tell you, being challenged in Nigeria is not easy, because I know what kind of people are there. You have high-end entrepreneurs, etc., and people are ready to listen, whatever. But what kind of weapons did you form to succeed against the challenges that you had? Like you said, the very rough upbringing and all that. What weapons must we have to face the challenges that we find along the way as we try to create wealth? You also use the word lasting wealth. Yes.
I think the first is resilience. You have to be resilient. I think a lot of us, and I was sharing with the person that accompanied me here, when she was telling me that it seems young people have a wrong work ethic. It seems the younger ones are, a bit lazy. And I said technology is the reason. When you and I were growing up, there was no social media. There was even no smartphone. Right, I remember traveling hours just to go and see cousins, from Maiduguri to Jos, in Nigeria. And so because technology is fast, speed, now it's helped the younger ones to just expect things to be so fast. And when it's not fast, they give up. And I think that resilience is what you must have. For me, that was it. I just made up my mind, I will keep knocking this door until you open. I did almost 20 businesses before the first one worked. I hawk electronics, I sold popcorn, I mean, I sold books, I organized trade fairs, but I kept at it. And I started early. And at some point, things began to work.
Okay.
But another thing I want to add as well is the role of mentorship. I have had to I've enjoyed amazing mentorship. I've had to walk up to people who are older, who are more successful. Sometimes I put it on social media. You see me sitting down with some of the older rich people in Nigeria, in the US, and I'm taking notes.
Typically on how they did it.
Exactly.
Speaking of, so we're coming to the last parts of this interview. So the world is being challenged, and I know entrepreneurs like you are not unique. You're also facing the same challenges, which are sort of shading off a huge part of your portfolios. Speaking of inflation, slowing economies, and all these sorts of things that are hitting, are actually putting you on pressure to take your investments in safe markets, etc. So the same young entrepreneurs are facing these challenges. How do you walk that tide as we go? Is that in the billionaire codes? That must be in the codes.
Those are the code, because part of what we share in the code is being dynamic. One thing we entrepreneurs are known for, if you're successful, is your ability to be fluid and understand that, in fact, you make more money when there's blood in the water. A smart entrepreneur does not even invest in a sector except the sector is coming down, because it is when it's coming down you're able to buy cheaper, right? And it is when it's going up that you sell. And so the mindset has to be different. I tell people, for example, we're doing some huge investment in the US next year, and it's because the data is showing a slow growth in the real estate sector, and then that's the best time to go and invest. We did the same in Dubai. By the time we moved to Dubai, the real estate sector was really struggling, and the second year of our company in Dubai, boom, the real estate sector jumped up. This year as well, the real estate sector is doing so well, and we control over 100 properties there. And so we're reaping the reward of taking advantage of the season that is difficult and turning it around. And that's really who we need to be as entrepreneurs.
I'm beginning to believe you. Everyone will believe the Nigerian when they're talking. Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen Akintayo. We feel so privileged to have you here. The very few studios have hosted you in Africa to come and speak about your books, Billionaire Codes, and Billionaire Codes is here. And then this is Billionaire Habits. Where can we find this? On Amazon and
Amazon.
Where are they selling in Uganda?
And on my website. We don't have, unfortunately, we don't have.
What is your website?
StephenAkintayo.com. They can just Google my name, Stephen Akintayo. And I think for a lot of young people as well, my YouTube has over 1,000 videos on real estate, on e-commerce, on forex, on different business
real estate, digital paper money, or paper investment.
Exactly.
Thank you very much, and we will be definitely checking out your socials.
Yes.
Please go on YouTube, Twitter, everywhere. Look for Dr. Stephen Akintayo and read those very resourceful books, Billionaire Codes and Billionaire Habits for Entrepreneurs. Thank you very much for listening to The Link.